All right, welcome back to our Falcon and Winter Soldier spoiler review for episode 3, The Power Broker. This is the longest episode of the three. Hopefully, it's not the longest episode of the series, which, sad to say, is halfway done already. It's like as quickly as it started, we're almost halfway through. How time flies. Soul, down in Miami, how you doing?
I'm doing good, ready to talk. I got my new shirt here, repping Falcon and Winter Soldier, ready to talk about it.
Yeah, I ordered my new shirt, so I will have a Falcon Sam shirt that Aisha is rocking now. Aisha, how are you
Yeah.
doing? Enjoying it? Liked your shirt so much, I just bought it.
Stand up, go.
I'm doing good. This is my new Samus cap shirt that I got from Amazon that I'm loving.
Nice.
Happy Easter to everyone who is celebrating Easter. Today we're recording on Easter, so happy Easter. I'm ready to get into this episode because I have a lot of thoughts.
Well, it's the longest episode. Should have a lot of thoughts. And across the pond, Mr. Bogz, how's it going?
Yeah, good. I'm the same. I'm a bit not disappointed, but like we're midpoint already of the season. I wish there were 10 episodes, 8 episodes instead of 6, because I'm really having fun with it. I thought it was a bit of a jam-packed episode as well. They unpacked a lot in terms of the plot and everything. So it seemed like a lot of different genres here as well, like espionage and political and action and MCU as well. So all in one. And yeah, so I'm really liking the series. Yeah, but yeah, I'm all good.
Yeah, me too. Just really quick overall. I enjoyed the episode. It's funny. I enjoyed it, but it's my least favorite of the three. Even though this is the most plot heavy, moving the story forward, it's really, really important. And obviously we got Zemo and we got Sharon Agent Carter, Agent 13. She's not Agent Carter. Being introduced, I just felt like I don't know, and we'll get into it. All the action scenes were great, but just for me, it was just like for some reason I just didn't enjoy it as much as the first two. But this episode had a lot of work to do, and maybe that's one of the reasons why it just feels very, very longer than really what it was. But it is what it is. Is there a delay for me? Am I being delayed?
Big time? A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll throw to just so guys, I'll drop out overall thoughts of the episode. Aisha, you start first. I'll be right back.
Aisha.
Yeah, Aisha, you can go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I would just say just overall thoughts on the episode, just in general, your initial overall thoughts.
So my overall thoughts on the episode, I thought it was good. Like Sean said, this was my least favorite out of the three. It was an MCU show, so it's still good. It was still put together very well. I thought the writing was amazing. It's the same writer who founded a John Wick series. So I thought that was pretty cool because we kind of got a John Wick vibe out of it. There's some questionable plot holes throughout this episode that I was like, okay, that was convenient. So I thought overall it was good. I thought the flow was a little bit off slightly, but overall I'll just say it was a good episode. I still enjoyed it.
Pogs, your overall thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of gave mine. So I didn't like WandaVision, right? I know I've mentioned it like 100 times, but I genuinely did not like WandaVision. Last episode was okay, last couple, but other than that, yeah, I didn't like it. But anyway, so because this is, for me, it's so much better. It's so much more comic book and thriller stuff and more action based, and these are more characters I'm more interested in and invested in, and it's moving the timeline forward, the MCU timeline forward. So after the blip and stuff, so automatically it's already better for me. So yes, really liked it. I haven't really ranked it yet. I think because we've only got 3, it's hard to say. I think, and I do like them more. So there's not one that I particularly like less or anything like that. But yeah, no, overall really, really good. But reintroducing characters, and it doesn't sacrifice moving the main characters development as well, so which I was quite impressed with. But no, overall, 100%. I was going to talk about that later, Aisha, the John Wick vibe to this whole episode. Yeah, like I didn't know that till afterwards. I checked. I was like, oh, it's the same writer. I was like thinking it's like John Wick. So yeah, I'm not surprised. Same writer. So yeah, good job.
Yeah, I mean, especially like the Sharon Carter stuff was just like those fight scenes of her just like in the shipyard was just like, nah, I could watch a whole movie of just that. And then we'll start breaking down the episode.
I agree with Bogz yet. I haven't like formulated which is like the best or the least best. I just love this episode, and they all been pretty like 5 out of 5 for me at the moment. I think I said it like when we were doing Mandalorian reviews. I was like, most of these are 5 out of 5 for me. I don't really have a favorite. They're all just, it's all Star Wars. So this is like, it's all Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's all good for me. But yeah, I was going to say the same thing as Aisha and Bogz were saying, that the John Wick vibes, I love those movies, so I was completely here for it. I love just the storyline of Bucky in this episode. Bucky has really been the main star for me in these last 3 episodes. It's like, I love Sam's story, but just all the turmoil that Bucky is dealing with, and like just him having to be the personification of something that he says he's not anymore with the Winter Soldier. I loved all of that this episode.
Yeah, and then a good place to start is at the beginning. So the first opening scene where we see, I don't want to call him Cap. I don't want to call him Cap, but John Walker and then busting into where the Flag Smashers were last episode, kind of trying to get intel, and then John Walker's cornering the guy. And you can see that he's not giving him the respect that he wants or he thinks he deserves because he's Captain America. He's like, do you know who I am? Playing that card, this is like, well, if he knew who you were, he would give you the respect that you needed. So we're seeing already that he's being frustrated about, like, he got his ass kicked the second episode. He's not getting the respect he thinks he deserves this episode. So we're already seeing his frustration and the weight of being Captain America and the lack of being able to fight off the super soldiers, the lack of respect that he's getting now, getting his spat at. Like, Captain America never got spat at, especially not by a villain or someone, just someone that you're interrogating, trying to get information from. So the show is doing a great job to say, this guy is qualified to be Cap, but he's definitely not Cap. And he's starting to get desperate and anxious about what he's going to do. He's already telling Hopkins, like, yeah, well, we might have to start doing our own thing. Like, he's already starting to almost getting desperate already. So, Bogz, your thoughts on that opening scene with John Walker?
Yeah, I liked it. Like you see that, as you said, I mean, you pretty much covered it, that he hasn't got the respect as of yet. And not only that, he hasn't got the respect from Sam and Bucky, in terms of, he's not having they're not getting too many resolutions from their point of view. So yeah, so you're seeing his frustration. So obviously they're going to go through other routes to get what they need. But yeah, no, you pretty much summarized it there. And to be honest, I wish there was more of him this episode. I think he was in it for max 2 minutes. So I could have done more of him because, I think he just kind of grates on some of the other characters, and just seeing how like he's not the real Cap, but he is Cap currently. I do quite like the kind of animosity that he brings and stuff like that. So yeah, he's I definitely needed more of Sean's famous words, of course. Needed more of him. But yeah, no, they were only in for a couple of minutes. That was one of the negatives I had with the episode, which I was going to say later. But
I'm actually quite fine with the amount we got in him. I think he needed to take a back seat, but I like that they opened the episode with him just to kind of see, hey, this is what he's doing while they're doing their own thing. So I actually am glad that he's not in it a lot, because I know we're gonna circle back to him, and he's gonna, because eventually they got to get that shield from him. So there's going to be an encounter between Sam, Bucky, and John Walker and Hopkins. They're gonna have their moment at some point. So I'm okay with them being put on the back burner so we can introduce Zemo and Sharon. But Aisha, your thoughts on that opening scene with John Walker?
Well, I kind of want to go back just a little bit to the very first opening when they do the commercial for the global.
Good point. Very good point.
I'm sorry?
No, I was just saying, very good point.
Oh yeah, the Global Repatriation Council. It's weird because I kind of got the vibe that they were speaking to Bucky in a way, because they'll say things like, so much has changed, but we're here to help you find your way, or help you navigate changes to society, laws, and borders, helping you get back to the way things were. I was like, oh, this kind of sounds like something that Bucky needs to hear, So I thought that was interesting. And then, of course, the end tagline, it said reset, restored, rebuild. So I was like, all right, well, in a sense, Bucky was reset. He's no longer the Winter Soldier, technically. He was then restored in Wakanda. And then now is he getting rebuilt? He's ascending to a different person, to a different Bucky, to a different, whatever, maybe the White Wolf, like who is he going to be rebuilt into? So I thought that was very interesting, a little bit foreshadowy. I thought the back and forth between John Walker and Hopkins was very interesting. It kind of seems like this is the first time we're kind of seeing them butt heads a little bit. He's like, hey, maybe these guys aren't really that bad. Kind of what I was saying last week, in episode 2, they're working towards giving back to the community in a sense, so maybe in the future we might see them break apart as a team, and maybe Hopkins will go and join Bucky and Sam, who knows. So I thought that was interesting. The other thing that I thought was very, very interesting was when John said, don't give them a chance to breathe. I was like, okay, that's very interesting, especially in the wake of the trial that's going on right now. I'm not going to name any names, but we know what trial is going on right now. And I was like, it's kind of crazy as far as how the timing lined up, with that statement, don't give them a chance to breathe, and then what's going on right now in our society. So I thought this was an interesting scene. I definitely would have preferred to see a little bit more of John Walker, but I thought what we got was pretty good. Enjoyed it.
See, you guys wanted more. I'm satisfied with what we got. So, your thoughts?
So I liked this scene. I like too the fact that you have that commercial and like it literally like happy-go-lucky, and then immediately shift tones to him opening the door. You see the shield and him saying the words. I was gonna say the exact same thing. Aisha goes, "Don't give him a chance to breathe," and I was like, This week, you're gonna have that on.
That's not by accident, guys.
Yeah.
No way.
No way. And so, and again, to the fact that him going, I know who you are, and I don't care. So people know that he's Cap now, but he does not have the same respect. And there's other things too, where you notice that Cap can speak other languages, and Bucky can speak other languages, and Falcon can speak other languages. We saw him speaking Arabic in the first episode. Because John Walker needed a translator. And so even though Captain America, you think, oh, English stuff, but I always have to say, when people say, like, don't speak Spanish, this is America, I'm like, America does not have a official language. We literally are a melting pot of so many different people. So the fact that John Walker is representing America and he's only able to speak English, he needs a translator, and Hopkins there. I noticed that part there. And that's also going to have a little less respect when you're trying to deal with people in other countries.
Well, I also just think the show is just doing a great job of building John Walker up and knocking him back down. And they're just doing it level by level, scene by scene, where like if he definitely doesn't have that super soldier serum. But would it surprise us now, before the series opens, that he ends up taking it? No,
right?
Because like he's becoming slowly a desperate man, because he's being constantly reminded that you may be holding that shield, you may have the label, but you're not that guy, you're not that man. And I noticed the translator thing too. That's just another little dig at him. That he does need that, and Cap could speak other languages. They all can. He can't. So it's just another thing about like the shows. I love the fact that they're breaking this guy down. We're supposed to hate him, but you can kind of like, I can kind of see why he's gonna end up doing what he's gonna eventually end up doing, because the guy's they spat in his face. It's like he's like Roger Dangerfield. He's getting no respect over here. Does he deserve it? No, he's got to earn it. But he just feels he's got this really entitled smug about him. Like, well, I'm Cap. You should respect me. You know, when you throw the "Do you know who I am" thing out at this point in the game, it's like, come on, dude, you just got the shield. Like they know who you are, but they're not gonna just automatically just bow down to the shield because you got it. You got to earn their respect, and it's not just gonna be something that's gonna be given to you. But so I'm really excited to see.
What's the other way you get respect? You earn it, or you fear, right?
Yeah, we just you take it. Yeah, and
like I was saying last episode, they're slowly pushing him to possibly want to get that super soldier serum.
Yeah, because like almost like if you don't do it willingly, I'm going to make you have no choice but to give me the respect. So, so obviously we cut from that too, and I love how we just go from that right into the meat of it, like we all were wanting last week about them getting Zemo. So they just kind of go there, and I like that they kind of go in a roundabout kind of way where they're like, what if we kind of did it like this? And Sam's like, well, I don't know if we should be doing that, and I don't think that's gonna work. So Bucky's kind of just talking to like, well, what if we did this? And then this were to happen, and they could do that. And Sam's like, yeah, that's not going to work, whatever. And then we just find out, no, that's exactly what did happen. And we see Zemo pop out. It's like, oh, that is exactly how it worked. And Sam's just like, oh, here we go. And then they're just off to the races. And I love the fact that we find out that Zemo's rich. I mean, he's a baron. So just like in the comics, he's Baron Zemo. So like he's just got a jet. He's got a butler. He's drinking champagne. He's like, yeah, I'm rich. Oh, you guys didn't know that? I'm rich. So I just love that his dynamic and his introduction back into the universe of the MCU. So I just love that whole scene. So your thoughts on Baron Zemo being broken out of jail and just his dynamic now between Sam, Bucky, and himself.
I was just gonna say, like, with Justice League goes, "What's your superpower again?" I'm rich. Like it kind of gave that vibes. But I love this trope in action adventure movies. Like this trope is like, oh, what'd you do? I didn't do anything. And you're explaining a hypothetical and it's actually what happened. And I know some people were saying like, well, how did Zemo get the guard uniform? I was like, he beat up a guard and took him into the bathroom and took his uniform. I know some people I was like, watch the show. Like it kind of shows how he does it. And you could say that it was a little easy, but that's the trope in all action movies. It's that Ocean 11's trope. It's that like literally any police breakout, any like jail breakout. So to me, I didn't have an issue with that. And I just love, too, the dynamic of the three of them together. Zemo was like, oh, may I talk? And they're like, no. And the whole like, oh, well, wait, I think I'm an asset. And they're basically telling him, like, you shut up. We brought you out. We need your help. But we don't want to hear you talk. You just do your thing. You get us a jet to go where we need to go. You give us the information. Other than that, we don't want to hear you talk.
Yeah. Well, and plus the fact that they don't trust this guy. Like he broke up the Avengers, he accomplished what and the fact that like I don't have a problem with how he broke out. The guy's he's ex-military, so it's not all he was waiting for was just the opportunity to break out. He probably could have broke out on his own, but it's a lot easier if you have an in, which Bucky gave him, and then everything else was just like it just felt very natural.
And another Easter egg there too is, so last week Bogz noticed the 2187 as the cell number. They changed the cell number this episode too. So I'm just like, oh, why'd you change it? It was a great Easter egg last episode.
They could have moved him. I don't know. That's where he was. I don't know. But transition, Bogz, your thoughts on that whole scene?
Yeah, it was just a really good reintroduction of him. I just thought, and yeah, I agree with Saul. Like he's like the third wheel to them. So I just like, obviously you already like Bucky and Sam's back and forth, and now they've got a third one to they both kind of hate really to bounce off. So yeah, it was great. And I love the way he flies around in his private jet, and I just like the way he delivers his lines. And like it's like you want to punch him, as it like he's got like a punchable face kind of thing. And that's worse for them because they say careful, a couple of times when he can tease them about Cap and stuff. So but they need his help. So it's that balancing act that brings the humor as well. So, but of course, like you're saying, Sean, he's manipulating the situation to his advantage. Whether if it's obviously he's going along, but as you see, like he finds the gun and like obviously he's gonna turn on her at some point, and he hasn't. He must have an end game or a plan, as he's shown in previous movies. So yes, you can't trust him absolutely, and he kind of brought the Winter Soldier back, through a character. But yeah, that was some of my favorite stuff in the episode, which I'm sure we'll get to. But yeah, he's just now we've seen he's almost like a 3D version of him now. He's not just an evil bad guy who's trying to break up the Avengers. Now you've seen a lot more color to his character, basically. So yeah, exactly. Oh, that was great. That was such a weird thing. Like in the episode, you're just in a club and then you just see him walking through, and all of a sudden he's just like a
hey,
really,
when in
really
Rome,
I was expecting the other guys to join in as well, but they didn't. So I was like, okay, cool.
Hey, there's still 3 episodes left. They can have a dance party, you play Welcome to the Space Jam, they can just all dance.
Yeah.
But I just love the idea that, again, that one of the best parts about them doing these shows is that you get to see more and learn more about these characters, because we got Zemo's motivation in Civil War, but now we're getting to see exactly who this guy really is and what he's really capable of, and the lengths he will go to, and how he has his. You can see that they broke him out for a reason, but he's got his own agenda.
His finances,
exactly. He's got his own thing going on, and we're just slowly realizing that, and the fact that he had his own life that he was doing way before Sokovia happened. It just got interrupted. He just said like, oh, where were you? I was just in jail somewhere. Like, oh, now you're out. All right, cool. So he was not a good guy before Sokovia, so he could blame the Avengers all he wants. He was a bad guy before then. He just got motivation to try to break them up because of what happened in Sokovia. But Aisha, your thoughts on Baron Zemo and him being broken out?
Sneaky little snake. Bucky and Sam are falling into his trap. Let me tell you, Zemo has already gotten into Bucky's head. Sam said that he said, "Be careful, he's going to get into your head." And every step they're going throughout this episode, they are following Zemo. They're thinking they're the ones that are leading the ship, but really, Jesus take the wheel, Zemo take the wheel. Zemo is driving this car, down to the way he was broken out, down to they're taking his jet. He has all these cars. Like I said last episode, when I saw the book in his cell and the newspapers, there's someone on the outside that's been helping him. And I think we're going to see who that person is towards the end of the season, maybe even next episode, because he's slowly manipulating the situation. He's too much of a yes man in this episode. He's like, yeah, you want, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, you want to do it? Yeah, I got you. Yeah. You don't want me to shoot him again? No problem. I won't shoot him again. There's something going on, behind that purple mask. So I don't trust him at all. I think there's something, some type of conspiracy. He has an end game, so he's gonna do whatever he needs to do. Like he told Bucky, he was like, "Look, nothing personal. I had a goal in mind." And what did he do? He was able to accomplish that goal, right? Zemo was able to stick the landing. He's going to do it again. Just watch.
Yeah, and I love the fact that as soon as he didn't miss a beat. Like he had his jet ready. He had all, like, it's almost like he wasn't even in jail for that long. He didn't miss a beat at all, and they really haven't addressed if he was bleeped out of existence for that 5 years. They really haven't addressed that. So I'm wondering, like, if he was really in jail that whole time. That'd be interesting for me to find out. But he's driving the train. Really, he's driving the car literally at one point. But yeah, all the decisions that they're making, they're following his lead. So it's like, I'm helping you, but I'm really helping myself. We just are kind of aligned, but I'm really doing my own thing. You guys are just along for the ride.
So he tells Bucky, he says, "Look, when you did all that foul shit, you were in a haze. You were being manipulated. You don't remember exactly what you did. I remember everything. I've been in this cell this whole time, and I had to, sit here and think about everything that's gone on." He's had a lot of time to develop a very, airtight plan, if you want to say so. I'm curious as to what he's really up to.
Yeah. Speaking of introductory, like the introductory back to Sharon Carter. So she's like been hanging out Obviously, she's on the run. She's a fugitive. She can't go back to the United States. But again, it goes back to what with Zemo, we're getting a lot more of Agent Carter. I keep calling her Agent Carter. She's Agent 13, Sharon Carter. So the fact that she's more cynical now of the whole superhero game, of the whole like, hey, F that. I'm making a good living over here. I don't kind of want to go back to the United States. I don't need to. I've kind of gotten a good living over here. So I love the fact that she is a little cynical. She's not trusting as much. She doesn't give a shit, and I don't blame her. Like, she made a decision. There was ramifications, and she's like, "Hey, well, yeah, I'm dealing with it. I really don't care." So I love that we're seeing this. It makes sense for her to be at this position in this mindset. So I just love her thought process in this. Soul, your thoughts on Sharon?
I love everything that happened in Madripoor. I love that Sam dressed up as the smiling tiger. He goes, "I look like a pimp," and Zemo was just like, "Only Americans would think, only Americans would think that a black man fashion forward looks like a pimp," and like that line just cracked me up.
But well, to be fair, real quick, in a suit like that, you're either a pimp or you're a priest. It's one of the two. I'm sorry.
True. I'm throwing it out there. Continue. I mean, I agree. I agreed that he looked like a pimp, but I loved Zemo's line there, and just the fact too, what happened with Selby was her name.
Yes.
I think. Yeah, and just I love that scene. The fact too that rookie mistake, he had his phone on, like, you put that shit on silent, and I think. Although Sharon played it off that she wasn't the one who shot Selby, she shot the other people when they were running away, and then you have that John Wick vibe too of like, here's the phone number, that the text that goes out to everyone. Like, I suspected like you had people going after them, and then after she shot, there was no one else going after them at the moment. So that was the one moment where I was just like, why do they still not have assassins going after them at this moment? But everything with Sharon going in, her dissolution with it, Bucky saying, she's kind of terrible now, huh? Like, the fact too, and just like Baron Zemo just having the time of his life. He's like over there, like when she's like, try not to get into trouble, and he's like, trouble, and then just him too dancing like, hey, like he's having the time of his life. He, like Aisha said, is running the shops.
Like he's on holiday or something.
Yeah, he's like.
Yeah, he's been in jail, remember?
He's like, this is wonderful.
I liked all that stuff, and the suit thing was, but it's funny how you can have a conversation and they're hearing it, and because it was kind of working for a little bit until she said his name. Like, he was playing it off really, really well and keeping it very, very vague. It was kind of working till she said Sam. It's like, oh crap. But Bogz, your thoughts on everything that happened in Madripoor? I'm not pronouncing that right. Madripoor, and then Sharon as well.
Yeah, so just I just like that city, and just in general, like the lawlessness of it, and just like the look of it's great, and just being like. Walking through these couple of bars and clubs, just the nightlife and just the aesthetics of it. Yeah, it was great. And then just the humor mixed with the action scenes, like obviously Sam doing that shot and having to stay in character. Bucky has to be in the Winter Soldier character, and he's just whooping guys. And I quite like the action there and the choreography in the bar and stuff. He just kind of looks the part. It's like, oh, he's being the Winter Soldier again. That's really cool. And then go into, and then obviously getting caught, and then literally as it was happening, I was like, this is exactly like John Wick. And even the kind of overall, just the look of it being in like Chinatown kind of thing, and the way they escape and stuff. Yeah. And that was obviously
asking, "Are you okay?" too, like with Bucky.
He did it a few times. He's like, "Are you okay?" Like checking up on him and stuff. I think that was maybe after the therapy session. He's like, like maybe checks up on him now. He knows. But yeah, and then this is the obviously reintroduction of Sharon Carter, which obviously we'll get into again in a couple of other scenes. But she's pretty brutal. Like shooting people, knifing people, killing people at point blank, like. On Disney, like this is the most violent episode of the series so far. I was quite shocked about some of the the kind of violence in action that they did use, bone crunching and it was all kind of cool. But it was just a good reintroduction. This is what I meant earlier, that they're introducing these older characters and not taking away from the overall story, their Bucky and Sam's humor and their relationship as well. So they're doing it so right for me. So yeah, really good few scenes here.
Yeah, I mean, but also remember, it's PG-13 violence. So, I mean, you can kill a guy and stab a guy and break a guy's arm as long as there's really not a lot of blood. It's all good. It's
Okay.
That could be on Disney Plus. That's family entertainment right there.
But you can shoot a guy like this close, like bang, and then.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Knife
As long as you don't show the
shocked.
blood.
As long as there's no blood, it's fine.
I'm not used to these rules.
It's Bogz. The American rating system is really weird. You could be surprised on you can kill a person.
But they were showing blood, right? Especially when the doctor got killed.
But how much blood is part of it too?
Okay.
Gushing blood versus just pooling blood. There's a big difference between those two things.
Yeah,
it doesn't sound like a lot, but there is.
Yeah, PG-13, you can say fuck one time in the movie, only once, because if you say it twice, then it's R. But you can say it once, and it has to be it can't be referencing sex. It has to be fuck this or something like that. So the ratings here are shitty. And
it's weird. It's funny you just said shit. You could say they say shit in MC movies all the time. They say shit all the time. So Aisha, your thoughts on Sharon Carter and anything in that area of the show, of the episode?
I thought the introduction or reintroduction of Sharon Carter was great. As they're walking into the club, you see, that that sign on the top where it was the power broker is watching you, right? And then it cuts to Sharon Carter seeing them in the club, not saying anything, but then going, to kind of sit back and see what happens. So I was like, okay, that's something to think about. She's obviously very jaded about what happened to her. She's like, hey, I helped you guys out, and then you guys had me on the run. You know what I mean? She's like, I haven't spoke to my family. I haven't spoke to my father, and y'all are out here chilling. So she, you can kind of see that she has a little chip on her shoulder, that they're out here not living their best lives. Zemo's living his best life, but living their lives, and she's still essentially on the run. So I want to say that we might not be able to trust her fully, but I'm not for sure. Yeah, there's something that happens later on in the episode that we'll talk about that kind of made me think, I don't know about this, but yeah, I thought the scene with Anthony Mackie was great. I still think that they're underutilizing Anthony Mackie. He's so funny, and I think that scene, especially when he's talking to his sister, I think they could have really pushed that over the edge and made it hilarious. But it was fine the way it was played out. I didn't have an issue with it at all. And then, of course, you have that John Wick moment where they're all looking down at their cell phones, and I thought it was going to be this huge, action-packed fight scene where they're fighting all these assassins, and it's like, nope, bam, bam, we're done. Okay, look, you want to head to your apartment? I was like, oh, damn.
Right.
I think, yeah, I think those are the sacrifices of only having six episodes. Because I was envisioning oh yeah, they're gonna be they're gonna have to go through a street full of assassins to get to the next thing, and it's not really. But I agree with you, Aisha. That scene with the sister on the phone could have been played out a little bit longer. But again, the sacrifices of only having 6 episodes got to move things along. Is probably
the same amount of time, just written slightly different.
Yeah, and I think too we need to speak on Bucky too, in focusing on where you have Zemo earlier telling him there's still something there, and we as the audience are going, no, he's good, he's chilling, he's trying to reamend, and then the fact that he that quickly gets right back into Winter Soldier vibe, and he is killing it as the Winter Soldier. And even Zemo says, oh, he just got back in there really quickly. He even comments on it, and he throws someone to Bucky, and Bucky's he's playing along. He's like, this is fun. Let me get my popcorn.
That was going to be my second point that I was get to is, Zemo kept talking about staying in character. Essentially, Sam was the only one who was actually playing a character. Zemo was essentially himself, And then Bucky, he's still Winter Soldier inside. Like let's be real. You know, he might not be mind controlled, but he's still
You can
he
just
still
control
has,
it now, right? He's still the
Yeah.
Winter
yeah,
Soldier.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, again, you know, going back to rebuilding him into the man that he needs to be at this time, it's still he still has that tether between him and Zemo. So we need to go in there with some scissors and
Yeah,
cut it.
Zemo's just trying to get back into his head in a different way now. It's like, yeah, see that there's when it's like, remember he still got the powers. He's still like, and we've seen him fight since Civil War, so we know that Bucky is still capable of like kicking ass. But Zemo's still just trying to get into his head to manipulate him.
That was brutal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I think Zemo's just again playing his own game. So he has his own tap on the nose. He has his own end game that he's trying to accomplish, and we don't know what that is yet. I mean, there's
Part
rumors
of
that
the pardon was to not hurt people, and then you have all these people with cell phones out recording him beating the shit out of other people.
He was being the
that's
character,
gonna play,
you know, he was being the
it's
character.
going to play a factor. I think
I
that
think
that video is going to get back to the U.S. and that's going to play a factor into him breaking his pardon.
it could. I wouldn't mind seeing there be some little bit of consequences, so, especially if he sits back with the therapist, like remember we talked about this. Don't hurt anybody, and she's like showing him that video. You're hurting people. But so once they figure out the scientists who created the serum. They go to see him, and he's pretty much explaining exactly like what we've kind of putting the pieces together of what we already knew about how they got that blood from Isaiah. It was pretty damaged, but he was able to synthesize it and make a new super soldier serum. Easy for me to say that fast 3 times. And that's how the Flag Smashers got it, and they took it. And then once Zemo figured that out, I was like, oh, so basically you're the only person who knows how to make it? Boom, I'm going to kill you. And then now the serum is now the only person who knew how to make it, very convenient, is now dead. And now we know where the serum is. The Flag Smashers have it. So now there's how quickly they've reintroduced the serum. They've completely taken it out again by killing the only person who was able to bring it back. He's now off the table, and whatever vials are left are now, as we'll find out, hopefully, that these are the only ones that are left. But we still have Isaiah and his grandson, the Flag Smashers, maybe the Power Broker, maybe John Walker. So there's still super soldiers out there, but now they've kind of introduced and taken away the element of there potentially being more. So I like that scene a lot, and also just seeing Sharon do her thing. Like we got to remember, she was picked to watch over Cap, so she is very, very capable of taking care of herself, and we got to see her taking out multiple guys with ease while they're doing their thing. And it just goes to show you, like, I would, like, after seeing that, would I not love to see a Sharon Carter Disney Plus series? Sign me up for something like that now, where Kevin Feige do your own Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and put her back in S.H.I.E.L.D. and you can have Jimmy Woo in there, and you can bring Coulson back in there.
Do a Madripoor series.
Or do something, like, because eventually she's probably going to get pardoned. Like Sam is saying, I'll get you a pardon. She's probably going to get pardoned and come back to the States. I need to see more of her. This cannot be the last time we see her in this. I need to see her again, because she is way too capable for her to be put on the back burner again. So I need, especially now that Disney Plus shows are a thing, I need to see her again. So Sol, your thoughts on the Super Soldier Serum, and then that fight scene outside, and what Zemo just was like, yep, I'm gonna take that off the board now.
Sharon's a boss ass bitch. That's basically what she showed us there. Like, come on now.
Yes.
And I also, because you have he was trying to play the Selvig was trying to play, be like, you know what? No, let me make a deal with you, and then like Bucky wasn't having it. He was playing that Winter Soldier vibe. And the funny thing is, I would think in that moment he would need to be Winter Soldier. He could just be Bucky. And so he's still in that Winter Soldier vibe from before. So that's playing to what Aisha was saying earlier. He's still Winter Soldier inside. And you see, too, when they had the gun to his shot next to his head, he's like, okay, I'll tell my story. You have moments of where the sound kind of dips a little bit. And apparently, when you read, the show actually had to do some research, reshoots, and some like what's that when they voice over
ADR.
ADR. They had to do some ADR because they had a storyline that was too close to COVID-19 in the show, and so they didn't want it to be too similar to that. So there was moments, and I think that was playing to what we see later in the episode with Carly and that lady who she's crying over. That was supposed to be a bigger story, and it was supposed to be something more like a worldwide disease. And so that too, I find that I was like, I kind of wish that we had that, because I think it would have been interesting and something that all of us could relate to, definitely in the time that's going on right now. And I think too, just I think there was Serum in that lab. I think there's no way that there wasn't Serum, because he paused before he said no, and we saw Zemo walking around. He did find that gun, but I think he also might have taken a vial or two, and one of those vials I think might be the vial that he gets John Walker under his belt with.
I mean, all possible. I mean, you took one for himself. We don't know. I mean, would it surprise me like he could have pulled a Loki, just been like looking at it, and then we eventually know, like, yeah, he took that. Would it surprise me?
I don't think he would take it himself though, because he's against super soldiers. I think he would take it and use it as leverage.
Yes, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. Like, take it for his own purposes, not take it himself, but just take it like this. This is a good bargaining chip for later on. Right. So because we know there are all these groups are just going to come to head. Bogz, your thoughts?
Yeah, just from the inside the kind of lab where, again, I thought it was quite brutal. Like them just instantly putting the gun to his head, firing it off, and like, you better tell us. This is like a, like a spy thing, like an espionage thing, and then going, but like, because they made a point of a couple of things I noticed. They made a point of how many did you make, and he said 20. So obviously we know that there's 8 super soldiers, where the rest kind of thing, and yes, they zoomed in a few times on the, I don't know what you call it, on the little the serum, the blue things, right? And they just made a point of zooming in on it. I think we're going to see these later because he probably took them, right? So or someone else is going to use them. Maybe the Flag Smashers have some. So there's that, and then going outside and seeing obviously Sharon Carter at work. Yeah, as I spoke, like super effective, but almost like too, like, like how Avengers are. They normally have the spirit, they normally have the heart, where they don't normally kill unless they kind of have to, or unless it's like aliens or wizards or whatever the thing with androids or whatever. Yeah. But like I know they had guns and weapons and stuff like that, but she's not even hesitating and like shooting people point blank, knifing people. That's not really the kind of good guys' behavior. So although she seemingly had to, but I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is a bit dark side-ish, if that makes sense. So I did kind of pick up on that. And then I did like, obviously, Bucky and Sam's interaction. Like, you didn't listen to me. This is how action movies go, kind of thing. So that was cool. And then and Zemo coming in with his kind of with his mask on. I just thought he looked badass and shooting that kind of pipe thing and blowing them up. I was like, oh shit, he can, he's got money, he can dance, he's smart. What can't he do?
This guy's mask now,
yeah, exactly. I like his mask as well. I think his outfit looks cool as well. So yeah, that was a really good scene. And then going on towards the ending. But yeah, no, I really liked it.
Yeah, it was funny because everybody, like, one of the criticisms from Civil Wars, he didn't have the mask on. Like, now he's got the mask on. People stop crying like little babies. But again, I did like that. It's like Riggs and Murtaugh, especially like that had some Lethal Weapon 3 and 4 vibes about you were supposed to go this way, why I was supposed to go that way, and they're like, dude, shut the hell up, just keep shooting people. Like, come on, they sound like two old guys like already. We're like you're seeing them start to build their relationship, because again, like we said before, they weren't friends, but you can start to see it. They're building that
Becoming
chemistry
friends,
and that
yeah.
foundation.
He's always checking up on him as well.
Exactly, exactly. Because Sam maybe not 100% sure. Like, are you going back? Are you going backwards? That's why he's almost like, hey, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" Because he is concerned. Like, he's too quick to just start taking
Bucky
people
says
out.
it to Sam too. Bucky also.
Yeah, he does.
says
Yeah, of course.
They
So
need each other. They need each other.
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
And that's
and they're just finding it out.
And that's one of the things I'm liking about this. Where they're establishing that they weren't friends, but the show is slowly getting them to the point where they need each other and they're starting to care about each other. Where, as Sam was saying, like, yeah, we could just go on a long vacation and I don't have to talk to you anymore. You can see that that's not how he's feeling as much anymore. Where they're starting to really, really rely on each other and trust each other. So I'm really, really digging that. That's one of the things I really got out of this episode. Aisha, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's kind of funny you said Lethal Weapon. I was thinking Rush Hour because there's a part of Rush Hour.
Yeah,
I think in Rush Hour too,
Very similar.
where you go this way and I go that way. You know,
No, you go this way and I go that way.
yeah, I got huge Rush Hour vibes. I thought the scene was very interesting. I agree with you, Boggs. I do think there's some type of serum that was in there. He made it a point like, look, I'm the only one who was able to get the serum to perfection. Like, you don't have to bulk up. Like, it doesn't alter you in any ways. You know, physically, you're the same person. It's just internally, you know, you have the strength, you know. So, you know, thinking about that, you know, going back to, you know, Sam, where he was all dolled up. I was like, that kind of gives me Wakanda vibes. And now he's talking about the serum that gives you the strength, but physically you don't change. I was like, that kind of gives me Wakanda vibes as well with the plan. I was like, oh, you know, we're getting a lot of little Wakanda seeds in here. And then, you know, later on in the episode, So I thought that was interesting. And then, of course, Zemo, again, doing what he wants to do. He kills the scientist because he wanted to kill the scientist. You know, like, how is that going to come into play? What it's going to be. Sorry, I had to let Dom drive through real quick. What is going to be the retributions of him?
He's going back between Miami and Texas.
Exactly.
Driving over the Gulf.
Lot of family.
It's Fast and Furious. There's no physics here. He could drive over the Gulf of Mexico.
Oh, yeah, they operate in Fast and Furious.
They fly, don't they?
Dom could. He came from space. He could do whatever he wants.
Yeah. So, you know, going back to, you know, my theory, I think they're gonna John Walker's gonna somehow get this serum. We don't know what's in that vial though. That we don't know if it was one of the older vials where he was still trying to work the kinks out, or if it's one of the newer ones. So what if it was one of the older ones, and that might you know, mess with his head a little bit. You never know. Sky's the limits, right? So
I like that theory.
Yeah, so this is very, very interesting to me how this is playing out. And then I also noticed with Sharon, when she saw that the scientist was killed, she was very emotional about it. She was like, "What did you do?" You know, I was like, why is she so worried about if he's dead or not? You know, so again, going back to the power broker, you know, what she's been doing this past 5 years, there's something going on. You know, there's other elements here at play. Yeah. So
well, we see once they're driving off of, like, she has her own person.
She's like, I'm not going. I'm gonna stay. I was like,
yeah. So she's just like, but don't forget my part. And Sam's like, I won't. So she has her own side story that she's doing. So I'm hoping that even though she didn't go along with them, I'm hoping this. I mean, it's safe to bet this is not the last we're gonna see of her in this show, at least, because
she says to her partner, you know, so, okay, we gotta get going because there's a lot at play right now, and we need to fix this. You know, so, you know, like I said, something's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, the power broker is hovering.
I also think I think she's working for the power broker. I know some people have theorized that she is the power broker. I don't think she is. I don't think she's had enough time in Madripoor. I think she's working for the power broker.
I agree with you, Saul. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe she wants to or doesn't want to. Like, I think, but the power broker is just hovering over this whole episode of, like, fear and intimidation. Like, I already know him by reputation. I don't know. So,
and it would be cool if the power broker is the Mandarin. That would be really cool.
Well, the Mandarin's gonna be in Shang-Chi.
That would connect things.
It's possible, but I would kind of prefer it to be just someone completely different. It could be someone from the MCU past that they rejigger into this universe again somehow. But that reveal has to pay off. The way they're setting up who this power broker is, that whoever this person is, that's gotta work.
It's Luke Skywalker.
Oh, you mean Sebastian Stan? Sure, yeah, it could be.
I think it is
sure.
some type of government, someone in the government, though. I think there's someone playing both sides.
Thunderbolt Ross? Who knows?
Possibly.
I think Thunderbolt Ross, like my theory is I think he's the president now because it's been a while and he was Secretary of State. So I think he's the president. And I think it'd be hard for him to play both roles in the U.S. and also in Madripoor. So I don't think I think he's a villain. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think he's the power broker.
Well, I mean, they could easily be, because I don't think Zemo's going to die. They could easily be setting up the Thunderbolts here. Which wouldn't surprise me because Kevin Feige said that this show it has the possibility or potential to spin off into 3 other shows. So where they could be, Young Avengers could count. In my mind, Sharon Carter deserves her own show, especially if they do like a Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. type show, and maybe the Thunderbolts is another thing. So who knows? But just to like get to the kind of end of the episode where obviously Walker and Hopkins are starting to get super frustrated because they got nothing, and they're behind. And I think it's gonna be interesting to see when they find out what's going on, his reaction to Bucky and Sam busting Zemo. Well, he knows that Zemo's out, but when he really realizes that Sam busted him out, what is his reaction when they see the 3 of them together? I'm hoping that episode 4 is kind of the same thing where you get a scene and then we just get right into the meat where John and them meet up and then they have it out. I don't want to wait too long to get to that, so we got that. And then obviously Zemo, we find out there's another party that's interested in getting Zemo, Wakanda, because obviously it makes perfect sense that they would be upset at A, that they would find out that he got busted out, and B, that they would send one of their assassins to get him. Now the interesting thing is going to be for me is how are they going to address or not address T'Challa in this, because when they filmed this, Black Panther 2 obviously was still going to be a thing, and Chadwick Boseman was still alive. So are they going to, do they have to pivot from what they originally did because of that, or the way they shot it, they don't have to address it? So I'm curious to see how much Wakanda is going to be involved in this. I was not expecting it, but now that they show, I was like, yeah, it would make sense that they would be involved. So Bogz, your thought process on just how the episode wrapped up.
Yeah, a couple of things. So I did like the scene where Bucky and Sam are talking about what to do next, really, and Sam is still a little unsure, but Bucky's like, I'm going to take the shield. Like, forget what you're on, or forget this Walker's on. I'm taking the shield back. So I just like he stays true to his principle like that. And Sam's still unsure, which is fair. Obviously, we already knew that, but I just like how like that. You're kind of foreseeing the confrontation between the other guys. So I do like that. I did like the scene with the Flag Smashers about them. You see them tying up the other guys and explaining, they had supplies there they're not sharing or giving them to the people. And then you see, obviously, the mother scene. I didn't totally get that with the mother, because obviously she was just ill and dying, and we were like, oh, what is she? What was going on there? But now that you explain that, so that kind of makes a bit more sense that I had to cut some of it out, or they changed it. And then obviously she tells them to put the seatbelt on, and it blows up, and then because you do feel sympathy for them based on their situation, and then they're acting as if they're potentially terrorists again. So obviously they have the conflict there, like.
Yeah,
you see the conflict, right? And then seeing obviously Ajayo at the end there, that was definitely a bit of a surprise for me. I was like, oh, okay, I was not expecting that, but it totally made sense that you saw her. But I thought the same thing, Sean. I thought, oh, okay, like when was this filmed? Like who, just other people that were going to be in it, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, it's still definitely exciting. Like, yeah, that's definitely a link that Bucky should be using, right? If he's got all these the Black Panther, the Wakanda community there, like, use it. They're some good contacts to have. So I don't know why 100% they're there really, but well, I mean, I'm sure we'll find out. But yes, I did like the return of her. So, but I do have a couple of negatives about this episode. I don't know if I want to address it, or you can come back to me. But I'll say I wanted. Okay, cool. You guys go, and then I'll come with my negative.
Yeah, but remember, Wakanda would be involved because he killed the king. Like, so they have a personal stake in the fact that he's just out and about. So it would make sense that they were like, hey, we're here for Zemo. Bucky, everybody else, they probably don't give a crap. They're like, we want to make sure Zemo gets put back in jail, or we're gonna take him. So I just think that's how they're involved. How much they're gonna be involved, I think is gonna be left to episode 4 at least. So your thoughts?
I agree with Bogz there. The conversation about Bucky just saying, "I'm taking the shield." Like, I don't care, but I'm taking the shield. That's why Bucky has been the most interesting.
He's a star of the show for me. He's
the same. And going to the Flag Smashers and just Carly Morgenthau, you see her going to them saying, "You're holding these things. People could use this. You're holding these supplies," and so you're kind of in sympathy with the Flag Smashers. You get their thing, and then she blows up, and her guy there is just like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Violence is the only thing that they understand," and I can see like a little between them there that it's going to. There's a little rift there, and I think the Flag Smashers might. Because I think most of the people became part of the Flag Smashers to help people and not really be a terrorist group. And I think there might be a rift between the Flag Smashers if some of them go down a violent path and the others are wanting more to help people. So I think that's going to be interesting going forward. We do only have 3 episodes left, but I would like to see it. And the fact that we saw Ayo. She's second in command of the Dora Milaje, although like we don't know how the Dora Milaje is going now since everything with Chadwick Boseman, may rest in peace. Although he was alive during this, so I think it would be very interesting that if we do see him, I don't expect it, but I would really like it because I think it would be very poetic that the last time we see him on screen is as Black Panther. So maybe we'll see him. I don't know.
I don't know if we'll see, but I mean, obviously we know he's gonna be in the What If animated. We know he voiced that. Will he pop up? I mean, I think I want to see how much more involved they are to want to speculate if he's gonna be in it or not. At this point, I'm gonna say I wouldn't expect it, but
I would like it.
Surprise.
I mean,
surprise.
It'd be a great surprise, and I wouldn't put it past the show.
That would be our Luke Skywalker for this.
I wouldn't put it past him. And again, depending upon how the show keeps playing out, it would make sense that, especially considering how Civil War ended and he kept Zemo alive, it wouldn't surprise me that he gets involved again to a degree.
And of course, him and Bucky had, some kind of relationship, right? Like we saw them in was Infinity War. Like they, they seemed quite friendly, right?
He gave him his arm, so called him the White Wolf and all that. So it wouldn't surprise me if he showed up, and it wouldn't surprise me that Marvel is keeping it. Don't say it.
Yeah, it'd be good.
But at this point, I'm just excited to see what Wakanda is gonna add. That's just another element to the show that wasn't expecting, but now when you think about it, it should be there. Aisha, your thoughts?
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, we've been getting little sprinkles of Wakanda throughout this episode. So, to see her at the end, I was like, okay, that makes sense.
I was right.
So that was great. The thing about the Dora Milaje, they are supposed to be protecting the Black Panther at all times. So why is she there? Is the Black Panther there? Is T'Challa there? Why would she be there by herself? So I was kind of going back and forth on that. And I thought the scene with Carly was interesting. Like you said, so it looks like they did make a few reshoots, some cuts. So it was a little bit choppy. You hear this voice, but you don't see who's speaking the whole time. So I was like, is the voice coming from her head? Like, is this a previous conversation? That was kind of confusing, of course. And then I don't think they actually say Mama Donna. I don't think Carly calls her Mama Donna, but it's Mama Donna who is passing away from tuberculosis. These people are being denied like just basic essentials like medicine, and like Carly said, there's 6 months worth of supplies and people are in need right now. So I have a daughter who has type 1 diabetes. If she couldn't get her insulin, I'd be out there kicking ass too, blowing people up too. Sorry, but that's true. Like I would.
Taking the serum,
so,
like, oh.
Yeah, like I don't blame her. Like my daughter needs insulin to live. Like if I have a loved one who needs medicine to live, and you have a whole, storage filled of it, I'm gonna take it. So again, I'm still feeling sympathetic for the Flag Smashers. I still don't see them as a threat as of yet, and I'm hoping that Carly doesn't go off the deep end because I really actually like her character so far. So I hope it doesn't go that far. And I actually hope that Sam and Bucky are able to help them in the end. Because I think the recurring theme of this episode is people that were left behind. You know what I mean? Like people who are in need of help, and we have these superheroes, these characters put in place to aesthetically look a certain way and make it appear like they're helping out. But there's people who are left behind that are struggling. Sharon's been struggling. The people that have been oppressed, these Flag Smashers, they've been struggling, and they need help. You know what I mean? So. We'll see how it goes. I do see that Sam and Bucky are, coming a little bit closer, but they're still doing that back and forth little thing. And I'm over it. Like I'm ready to move forward. I want them to have that. I want them to have that moment that they speak and they get past it. I'm like, come on, let's go.
Yeah, they do need a quiet moment where they have a conversation where they can like literally just like put their beef to bed and then just kind of move forward. Right. But sometimes, because they still kind of have beef, then you still get the Riggs and Motar rush hour scene where they're yelling back and forth at each other. So it serves a purpose for it not to happen. But again, it's like, all right, get over it already. But with Carly, I do think she's not getting out of this series. She's gonna be sacrificial lamb to the power broker to prove the point of how powerful that person is. None of those Flag Smashers are getting out of this alive, in my opinion. But I do like the fact that they have the mantra of like from Avengers Endgame, whatever it takes, man. Like they're just doing whatever it takes to push their agenda forward, whether it's just stealing stuff or whatever it takes, man, to get what they got to do to get where they got to go. Like so, I get what they're doing, but I get what the show's doing too. Is like you're trying to empathize and sympathize with them. But at the end of the day, I honestly think they're going to be the show is setting them up to take the fall of the power broker to show, or even to Zemo. They're falling to somebody. So they're not, in my opinion, they're not coming out of the show alive. But time will tell.
And she's young. And she has power.
I think that like one or two, I think one or two of them might survive. I think a lot of the Flag Smashers are gonna die. I agree with that. But I think there's always one or two that survives because the longevity of the future.
I mean, well, it's either dead or you're in jail until we need you again, like Agatha. You're gonna be put on ice until we can maybe come back to you.
I mean,
maybe we won't.
No one assumed that Darth Maul was alive after he was chopped in half in episode 1, and he came back.
That's totally fair. But just let's start. We've been shooting over an hour, so just wrapping up overall thoughts on the episode. Bogz, I know you said you didn't have some things that you liked, so just real quick, what were those things?
Yeah, a couple of things. So obviously, I really liked it. Just overall story arc things that I've maybe got questions about, or I'm not totally on board with. I want to see more of the new Captain America. I've already said that. Just the whole Flag Smashers thing. Like, I did like the scene, the blowing up scene. I did like that, but just that overall story arc, like. I totally get that they're blurring the role between are they victims or terrorists. Absolutely get that. That's clear. And their political elements and get that. But I still like. I think I said last episode as well. The fact that they're so indirect as to what they're actually doing. Like, what is your overall thing? Are you just surviving from week to week, or like I don't know. I'm still unsure what they're doing and what's their story got to do. Apart from that, they are super soldiers. What's it got to do with the whole, the whole plot? Like, what's it got to do with Bucky and Falcon? Like, is it? I think maybe it might be with what you're saying, actually. Like, maybe they're looking for some sympathy so they can help them, or some. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. And for me, it isn't exciting enough their storyline. But when it comes up with the Carly stuff, I know she's a good actress, but it was just like I'm not really that interested. I'd rather see the Bucky and Sam and Zemo stuff. Like, that's way more exciting for me. They're guys I'm not totally on board with that yet. They're clearly not the big bad. Like, this just I'm a bit like okay, let's get to the next scene. And just the whole there was some online reaction about is it they were people getting AJ mixed up with Okoye. I don't know if anyone else saw that. So yeah, that was a bit weird. I just thought like,
okay,
yeah,
I didn't see that. But
she was trending. Okoye was trending on Twitter because people thought she
thought
was
it was
in.
Okoye.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, what? She doesn't look the same. Like,
It's clearly
she's
AO.
way taller.
Yeah.
It's like we all don't
Taller.
look alike.
super weird. I thought it was like a joke. I thought it was like people would like making jokes out of it, and that's why it was trending. But no, people thought it was
Not all
them,
black
and then,
people look the same, guys.
like, what?
No.
That was the biggest.
Just because they're both black and have bald heads, they're not the same person.
Yeah.
I didn't read that, but again, you're saying that. Yeah, I can see that could be a thing. But I think
I love
Bogz.
the online reaction of Zemo as well. Like the way people are just like surprised of how just funny he is, and the other character developments and his dance thing is just killing it. Yeah, I did enjoy the Zemo kind of reception.
Yeah, he ain't dying for sure. But I also like the fact that Bogz. So what you said about the flax, they're building him up so they could take the fall. Like they're gonna be, in my mind, they're gonna be the sacrificial lamb. So that's why you're spending time with them. So when the power broker comes in and he takes them all out, it's more. He's not just taking out no-name soldiers. He's taking out people we've gotten to. If he kills Carly, it's like, oh yeah, he's not to be fucked with. So, Aisha, your final thoughts on the episode?
Bogz, me and you, we have the same thoughts. I'm still trying to figure out what the show is about. What's the main plot? Because we have the flag smashers, but they're not a real threat. Not truly. Yes, they have the super soldier serum, but and I understand that that's a storyline, but I'm still trying to figure out what's the point of the series without being too frank. I enjoy it so far. It's a lot less action, a lot less comedy than I thought we were gonna get. But at the same time, I think what we've gotten so far has still been, pretty, top of the bar. I mean, it's Marvel, so it's gonna still be really, really good. But I am wanting a little bit more. I'm hoping this next episode gives us a little bit more answers, a little bit more clarity of, which way we're actually going to, especially since we only have 3 episodes left. So I'm still waiting for that. I really want to ask the whole Bucky and Sam going at each other thing. I'm over it. I really want that to be asked as soon as possible. And I want us to see the power broker. Like, I want to know who the name of the episode was. The power broker, but then we didn't see the power broker. We didn't really talk about the power broker, so I'm not for sure why the episode was called the power broker. So that was
he's looming.
He's watching. Big Brother is watching.
It was like, call it Madripoor, because it was more about that. So that was a little bit confusing to me. So yeah, I need a little bit more on what we're doing and where we're going. What's the end game. So
because I feel like I think you're 100% right. Actually, like the Cap stuff in terms of that storyline looming over these guys, that's great. But like once they catch up to the flag smashers, they're gonna get whooped, and that's it. Like, what's exactly? Who's the big bad? Like, obviously we know power broker, but let's get something that where they are potentially gonna lose, or what are they like a risk for the Avengers? Like, what's their big that's the thing. Obviously they've got the other Captain Americas this year. That's great as well. Just the flag smashers are a bit. It's not exciting enough for me.
I just don't want them to use this. I would hate if they use this series strictly to set up for other movies. I would hate that for this whole series to be just a setup. Because WandaVision was very clear as to, hey, this is a a
Contained
series
story.
about going through loss and all that kind of stuff. So I'm, like I said, I'm just trying to figure out, what they're going with, where they're
Same,
going
yeah.
with this.
I mean, I think the show's not going to do that. I'm almost confident that it's not going to be just a set up for other things. It can set up other things, but I think this is going to be felt really sustained on its own. Kevin Feige said it's just like a 6-hour movie. So most of the Marvel movies are their own thing, and they can also set up things at the same time. So I think that's what this is going to end up being. And it wouldn't surprise me that I think a lot of things that we all are asking for, I think episode 4 is going to not pay off, but I think we're going to get a lot more answers. We might, maybe the last shot is who the power broker is. Maybe it's him or she taking out the some of the flag smashers. I think we're actually. I don't think they're not gonna wait till episode 5. I think they're gonna do a lot of the heavy lifting and the fighting in episode 4, because I think Sam is getting that shield sooner than later. He's not gonna wait. They're not gonna wait till they better not, in my opinion, wait till 5 or 6 for him to get it. I think he's gonna get it in 4. So well, we'll see. I mean, because at least he's not getting that what on your shirt. He's not getting that yet, but I think he's going to actually get the shield at
This episode has changed my mind about this.
Oh, he's getting that. He's getting that, but I think he's going to get that later. But I think he's going to get the shield in episode 4. Because remember, we still saw in the trailer, even though that could be a fake out, we don't know, of him training with it. Because I don't think he's ever trained with it at all. So I think he has to get it to get comfortable to use it. So I think maybe by the end of 4, he's gonna get it. They're gonna have a fight with John Walker. All that's gonna come up, and I think he's gonna get it. And then it's him dealing with it in 5, so then he can become on your shirt in 6. I mean, I could be wrong. We don't have to wait that long to find out. So your overall thoughts?
I kind of want to just speak to kind of with Bogz and Aisha and their thoughts on that. I want to speak to viewing culture. We all are very used to watching and binging stuff and getting answers right away because we can click next episode. And the fact that that's not the case with Falcon and Winter Soldier, we're getting it week to week. And Kevin Feige did say it's a 6-hour movie. It would be like if we saw the Zack Snyder Justice League cut and we only saw the first hour and a half, and we're like, I'm making a decision on whether this is good or not when you haven't seen the full movie. So to me, I don't want to make a judgment on the full series or on how the thing is or what the story is until I see the full thing. I had to kind of go to when Legend of Korra season 2 came out, and everyone was like, how dare the creators do this with the story? And they were going on and on and on. And by the end of the story, when they saw what the actual story was like, they were like, that was such an amazing story. I loved it. And I was like, you literally was saying weeks ago that you hated this and fuck the creators and you don't want to watch this anymore. So I think too, people need to learn patience, and they just need to watch and see what's going to happen, because that was happened with WandaVision. People were like, what's going on with this story? I don't understand what's going on. I'm confused. And then we got the answers by the end for most of the WandaVision. So I think too, we will get the answers that we're all looking for with the show, and I'm just here for the ride. So far, I don't really have anything negative to say. There's little nitpicks here and there, but to me, this has been a great show, and I've loved every minute of it, and I can't wait to see what they go with forward.
Oh, I think
we're not complaining about the fact that we don't know what's going on. Our answers aren't, we're not getting answers. It's about, even in the beginning of any movie, what the movie is about from the beginning. What the plot is that's driving the story. And what we're seeing is right now, we don't know what the plot is. And even in WandaVision, from the second episode, we knew, oh, this is going to be a story about grief. Even from the first episode, this is going to be a story about grief. This show, I'm still unsure about. It's not that we're questioning, what's going on or anything like that. But if I have to wait until episode 5 to see what the series is about, then I take issue with that. So
yeah, but I think too, from what we're seeing, I think this so far, my thoughts of what this is about is that this is about kind of just what happens after the snap. That's the main point of the series to me, is responsibility and also imposter syndrome with Sam, and just the way that the world politics work. So to me, that's kind of like the themes of the show so far. So with you saying you don't get the themes, with me, I'm like, I'm seeing the themes clear as day at the moment for me.
Versus the themes, but yeah. I mean, because I understand the theme, but I'm just meaning like the main plot, the main story. Like, where are we going with this? Pretty much. But
I would say grief is though more of a theme than a plot.
For me, I think that the answer is usually in the title. Like if you look at WandaVision, the answer of what that show is in the title. It's Wanda's vision of how she's dealing with her grief. For this, it's the Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think it's the Falcon and Winter Soldier with Cap's shield in hovering over, like that star's in there as well. It's just them dealing with the legacy of Cap and what that means for both these two guys, and they're having different reasons of why they believe the things they do. So I think the show is just dealing with the legacy of Cap, what that means for Sam, what that means for Bucky, their relationship between the two of them, and what that means for them going forward. I think that's what this show is, and I think
Captain America has felt so much in every episode. He's literally not there because
every scene,
but because we don't want to call John Walker Captain America, so Captain America's not there, and yet we feel his presence in every moment of this. And so it's like, to me, it is to a world without Cap.
He this show's really dealing with it, and we still haven't know what that funeral scene is going to be about. So again, somebody's dying, and I just think the Flag Smashers are going to die. That's what I think. Someone's dying. I don't want it to be Cap now. I thought it might have been. I don't want it to be. I like the idea that I don't want him in this show at all. He's looming enough where that's enough. He doesn't need to be in the show at all. But I do wish they addressed the fact that is he really dead, or are they just like, shh, go, die in some cabin or something. Anyway,
he's in another multiverse. Let him be.
He's having the early bird with somewhere. Could be. I don't know. Anyways, that's our review for the episode. Went a little bit longer than we probably wanted to, but again, for people talking about an episode, it's going to be a little bit long, so we appreciate it if you're watching this whole time. What are your guys' thoughts on the Power Broker? We got, again, reviewed 3. We only got 3 left, so these next 3 episodes got a lot of heavy lifting to do, in my opinion. But I think starting with episode 4, I think we're all going to be satisfied, I think, with episode 4. In one way, shape, or form, I think we're all going to get something that we all enjoy and that's going to sink our teeth into the final 2. But what are your guys' thoughts? Leave the comments below. Also like, subscribe. And look, we're all looking forward to episode 4. And I think what we'll do is, I haven't discussed it with everybody, but I think after the next 3, I think we should just do where does this show go? Where does this show leave the MCU going forward? Because it's going to be a little bit until we get Loki. So where does the Falcon and Winter Soldier leave us going forward, and where do we think it'll tie into everything after that? So I think that might be something that we do between Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki, because Loki comes out in June. So until next week, I'm Sean for Bogz, for Aisha, for Soul. Take care, and whatever it takes is whatever it takes. Bye, guys.